Welcome, everyone. So we have to start from reason and faith, I believe. Last time we were talking about intuition, how to get connected with our intuitive mind, and I think we were also discussing some practical methods and things suggested and hinted by the mother, Sri Aurobindo himself. So now we can go on reason and faith. Anyone want to read?
Namaskar, ma'am. I'll read it. Reason and faith. Faith, says the mother, is the movement of the soul whose knowledge is spontaneous and direct. Even if the whole world denies and brings forward 1,000 proofs to the contrary, still it knows by an inner knowledge, a, a direct perception that can stand against everything, a perception by identity. It knows, but it cannot give reasons for what it knows. It does not believe after proofs are given. Faith originates from the very center of our being. True faith is as deep and strong as life itself, but reason cannot understand it. It scouts and chills it. It insists on proofs, on factual and objective evidences, and it very and it perempro and it peremptorily rejects
I think
all
it
that
should be preempt, not
pre
perempt. I
yeah,
don't
it's
know. Anyway,
preemptorily.
yeah, I think it should be preempt. Yeah,
Okay, I'll just read this line one more time.
yeah,
It insists on proofs, on factual and objective evidences, and preemptorily rejects all that eludes its objective tests. Thus, it shuts out an infinite range of knowledge from itself. The action of reason is mostly negative. It surveys and shifts, detects and rejects, watches and warns, checks and corrects. It is only rarely that it acts in a positive and constructive way. But faith is always positive and creative in its action. It possesses a confidence and a certitude which, sharp, which sharply contrast with the habitual doubt and skepticism of reason. I just read this one line one more time. But faith is always positive and creative in its action. It possesses a confidence and a certitude which sharply contrast with the habitual doubt and skepticism of reason. Faith is a reflection of the knowledge of the soul and has all the power of the soul behind it to fortify and support it in its self fulfillment. Loss of faith is the greatest loss modern man has suffered on account of his exclusive reliance on reason. Thank you.
yeah. It's a bit difficult language. So this word is actually the same what you were reading. It's called uh, putting an end to or precluding a right of action, admitting of no contradiction. That's what it means. So rigidly, basically, it rigidly sticks to itself and rejects all that eludes its objective test. So that would fit here. Yeah. So when you were reading, it seemed like as if we are reading about intuition. It's quite interesting how faith and intuitive knowledge, and that's why maybe it's just back to back reason and intuition, reason and faith. And I think many a times in our lives, all of us who are here, we must have had glimpses of this, that we just knew that we had to follow either a particular doctor or maybe get in touch with a particular person. We didn't know, so there was no reason for it why we would really directly go there without any doubt. But we have done that, I think, many times. So this resonates, when it says that it's just a direct knowledge. It still knows by an inner knowledge, a direct perception that can stand against everything. So you just know that you have to take this step, and there is no reason that you can give for this step. Hmm? It knows, but it cannot give reasons for what it knows. So I personally am able to relate very much, because at many, many instances in my life, I have taken decisions or steps, and that's why I'm sharing that many of us may have really glimpses of this. We have done this. We just knew we had to do that. We didn't know why. And at times it may appear like madness also, you know, to other people. It knows, but it cannot give reasons for what it knows. It does not believe after proofs are given. Hmm. So this, they say, is faith is a reflection of the knowledge of soul. So soul has a direct knowing, and all of us have a soul. so there are times when, as if the curtain is less thick, and in those times we are in connection, and something tells us that this is the way to go, and we go that way. It could be any trivial matter, like taking a left turn or a right turn when we are driving at times, taking medicines, which medicine to take. Very many times we take that intuitively. Connecting with people, if you are going through something, to whom shall I connect with? At times you just, the name comes and you connect. So it keeps happening as if, and that's what Sri Aurobindo shares, that it's not that we all do not get glimpses of intuition, but we have to make that our normal. And the more the mind becomes silent and receptive to the higher, it becomes a new normal. Miracle was the common way. There comes a line in Savitri. Yeah, yeah. So we can take reflections and sharing on this.
Yes. When I was reading this, one thing that I reason a lot. I ask for reasons. I ask for proofs a lot. And I know that most of the cases it is not necessary. Faith is important, but there is also the vital is always, like, to put it simply, the vital keeps saying that you will be a fool. You're going to be fooled. The people will laugh at you. You will laugh at yourself if you walk this path without any proofs. And as if I'm not being fooled by by all the material things I desire. The acceptance I really look forward to is to be fooled. Even if I'm being fooled, that's okay if I'm just walking the right path. And maybe then my faith will blossom further. Because right now, when I think about faith and when I think about reasoning, the two things that come to me is faith. I have to go, and just to be, like there is no proof, there are no question answers here, just faith. And to be on the side of faith, I think it is my, I think I need to accept that I may become a fool, but I am going to be a fool walking the right path, at least for now, because I can tell you that by faith I will never be a fool. God will look after me. But if that is not what I'm thinking inside, then why would I say that? So
Actually, there
yes,
is no
that's what
end
I wanted to say.
to this. There is no end to this going round and round. मतलब रीजन की अपनी जगह है, but I should not be obsessed with reason ना. That's what we are trying to cultivate, that I can use reason as a tool. It should not be using me. है ना? And the more the chatter becomes silent within us, the more you will, these questions will drop, whether I should, become a fool, not become a fool, whether I should. There, it's like, you know, I usually feel that it's like a nature's call. जब आपको पॉटी का बहुत तेज प्रेशर है, not like a regular one, like you can manage controlling it. No, something like your pate is garbad, and there is a person standing in the middle of the door, and here is you, and the door is here, and the person is blocking your way, and he's saying that you will lose all the respect if you go right now in the washroom. What would you do? You won't be able to listen. अब ये रीजन रीजन कुछ नहीं आएगा आपके हाथ में. ये रीजन तभी तक आता है जब हम अपनी कन्विक्शंस में श्योर नहीं होते. तो ये गोल 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 चक्की घूमती रहेगी, इसका कोई अंत नहीं है. चक्की चल रही, कबीरा बैठा रोए, दो पाटन के बीच में साबुत बचा न कोई. The things of duality. Shall I be called a fool? Shall I be called, a respectable person? इसके बीच में तो फंसे हुए हैं सबके सब. आप अकेले थोड़ी ना हो, है ना. लेकिन जब जब ट्रू कॉलिंग होती है ना, एंड ट्रू कॉलिंग हम सब एक्सेस कर पाते. सी, everyone has a true calling, but it is not accessible because there are layers of mud and dirt, which is just very important elitist reasoning mind, you know, which calculates and manipulates and wants to further calculate and wants to further give an evidence. तो उसके नीचे वो सारा वो दबा रह जाता है. कॉलिंग सबके पास है. Every man has a mission, है ना. So through our life experiences, how they are helpful, I feel, again, just little window here, that how they are helpful is through my life experiences I become convinced, and the mind becomes a relative, degree of silence is there in the mind. And now there is no point thinking about who would think what of me when the right step has to be taken, has to take be taken. तो अब वो दरवाजे के बीच में चाहे 10 लोग खड़े हो, चाहे एक लोग खड़ा हो, you know that you have to go. अब कोई रेस्पेक्ट नहीं चाहिए आपको. तो ये सारी जो एक्सक्यूजेज हैं, ये हम अपने आप को तब देते हैं जब अभी कन्विक्शन पूरा नहीं होता. और कन्विक्शन पूरा कैसे होता है? कन्विक्शन पूरा, मुझे लगता है, वन ऑफ द मेन एक्सपीरियंसेस, लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस. दौड़त दौड़त दौड़िया, जहां लगी मन की दौड़, दौड़ थके मन स्थिर गया. तो अभी थकना बहुत जरूरी है. जब हम दौड़ दौड़ के चक्की चल रही है, चल रही चल रही, देन वी बिकम, ओ माय गॉड, कितना चलती है, इट कम्स अ टाइम कि कितना चलेगी. And then you lose faith there in that chakki, and you have then faith somewhere else. जब तक इन promises में faith है तो फिर कोई chance नहीं है. तो our life experiences are the ones which ripen us. This is mentioned in Savitri. Nothing new that is being shared. That Prakriti was given the dominant hand by the Purusha, that through your gymnasium, the Purusha will grow in its stature. So the consciousness comes in front slowly through life experiences. और अभी भी अगर आप अपनी लाइफ में देखो, there would be many areas in your life where you don't do all this calculation, you just do it. There are, वो conviction कहाँ से आया? वो है आपके पास, वहां पे conviction है. So in some other areas of life, conviction will develop if they are right and to be followed. They will be, yeah, I think developing slowly. Yeah.
I'll just add one more point to this, what you said, ma'am. That you said, इतना दौड़ो कि अभी थक जाओ, और मतलब लगे ना कि लाइक इट्स लाइक आई डोंट केयर क्या लोग क्या सोचेंगे, मैं अपने बारे में मैं क्या सोचूंगा, आई डोंट केयर। तो जो प्रेशर बिल्डअप होना है मैम, तो उसके लिए what kind of actions one must perform on a day-to-day basis?
So Daudat Daudat Daudiya is related to when mother says passions are preferable to dull inertia. In passion, what happens? In passion, you are passionate about something, and from there you get some fulfillment. है ना, होता है ना, if I'm passionate about something, I invest time in there, energy in there, whether it's a person, relationship, workplace, your hobby, your interest, anything, could be anything. Whenever you're passionate about something, you run for it. You make effort. What is running? Running is making effort. When I'm making effort, somewhere there is a thing that my fulfillment lies here. है ना, मतलब आप जब you fall in so called romantic love, क्या करते हो आप? My fulfillment lies there, so I will travel. चाहे एक दिन लगे, 2 दिन लगे, बंदे से मिलना है, बंदी से मिलना है ना, ये होता है. So you are passionate, you travel, because आपको लगता है मेरी fulfillment यहाँ पे. तो हम भागते हैं. So that is good from dull inertia, because that moves me. दौड़त दौड़त दौड़िया, जहां लगी मन की दौड़, तो मन जहां किया मैं वो उठ के वहां भागा. मैंने रीजनिंग वहां पे रीजनिंग नहीं फॉलो करी, है ना. तो आप देखोगे कि इफ पीपल हु आर पैशनेट, एक्चुअली more vitally driven, I feel that they have more chances of learning exponential growth. क्यों? क्योंकि वो अटेम्प्ट करते हैं बहुत ज्यादा, पागलों वाले अटेम्प्ट करेंगे, है ना, और उसमें धक्के बहुत खाएंगे, तो धक्कों से ही हम सीखते हैं. और जो इंटेलेक्चुअल माइंड है ना, जो हमारा, वो क्या करता है, अरे यार रहने दे, कोई फायदा नहीं है, और वो एक स्टेगनेंसी क्रिएट हो जाती है. So you are very much comfortable in your intellectual boundary that you have created. A passionate man will live, वो say कि यार दिल कर रहा है आपको तेरे से मिलने का, तो उठ के चले गए, रात को 10 बजे चले गए, 12 बजे चले गए. हाँ, तो उसमें क्या होता है, when we make attempt, we are out of our inertia, and in that it's not that that's where we have to stop कि हाँ दिल कर रहा है तो कर लिया. No, उसमें we will learn that our fulfillment doesn't lie there. That's what we have to learn. Intellectual man takes time, I believe. Many things have to come in the picture so that that stagnancy is kind of shaken up. So passions are preferable. So दौड़ने का मतलब, जब कबीर जी कह रहे हैं कि दौड़ो दौड़ो, मतलब कि जहां आपका मन कह रहा है ना कि अच्छा यहाँ मिलेगी फुलफिलमेंट, वहां मिलेगी फुलफिलमेंट, अच्छा आप जाओ, घर पे मत बैठे हो, आपको लग रहा है, इसका मतलब कहीं उम्मीद बनी हुई है, तो उसके लिए अटेम्प्ट करोगे, करो करो. तो जब ऐसे बहुत जगह भाग लिए आप, बिना भागे वो कन्विक्शन नहीं आएगा, तो आपको लगेगा दौड़ थके. जब दौड़ के इसके पीछे पड़े, उसके पीछे पड़े, अभी भी ट्रू कंटेंटमेंट नहीं है. दौड़ थके कि यार अब नहीं भागा जाएगा हमसे किसी के पीछे, है ना. दौड़ थके मन स्थिर भया. अब मन क्या होता है, साइलेंट पड़ जाता है, ठंडा पड़ जाता है. हाँ, वो जो आग लग रही होती है ना, बर्निंग रेस्टलेस वाइटल एनर्जी, अप एंड डाउन एंड अप एंड डाउन, वो अब थोड़ा कूल डाउन हो जाती है आफ्टर दोज एक्सपीरियंसेस. आप साइलेंस में you find that you are always home. Your fulfillment is here with you. Now you will still meet people, you will still have interactions, but your fulfillment is not dependent on those interactions or work or anything. ये दौड़ने का फायदा है. तो क्या करें, भागो. भागो मतलब put effort wherever you feel okay, this is going to give me joy, put effort, do it. ये बैठ के गोल 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 घूमने से ना बहुत फिलोसफाइजिंग हो जाती है, लेकिन स्टेगनेंसी रहती है लाइफ में. एक्सपीरियंसेस को हम इनवाइट नहीं करते, पैशंस इनवाइट एक्सपीरियंसेस. तो ग्रोथ कैन बी एक्सपोनेंशियल देयर. तो जल्दी पॉसिबिलिटी है कि हम डिवाइन के साथ कोलैबोरेट करें, है ना. मार पड़ेगी बट अच्छी मार है, मतलब ये तो खानी चाहिए ये वाली मार. नाक के बल गिरेंगे बार बार, एज मदर सेज, you fall on your nose and it hurts, but it is a good kind of a hurt in the beginning. Before a path starts, it doesn't require any hurt.
I think this is where you said, maybe not this lifetime, maybe next lifetime.
Hmm.
Because if my tolerance is so high, इतना इतना ज्यादा है कि मैं जितना अब तक तो इतना किया है, इतने एक्सपेरिमेंट्स किए, अब भी ये क्वेश्चन सवाल आ रहे हैं, तो और करना है, और करना है, और करना है, तो टॉलरेंस इतना ज्यादा है कि until that pressure does not build up, तो मतलब, या, ओके, थैंक
हाँ, टॉलरेंस की बात है। आई थिंक कुछ लोग ना वो पैशन जो होते हैं, जो कुछ करना चाह रहे हैं ना, उसको रीजन दे दे के ना उसको ठंडा कर देते हैं, है ना। और उसकी भी अपनी जगह कि ठंडा करने के बजाय तुम ब्लाइंडली एक्चुअली फॉलो कर लो भैया, कर लो, अच्छा है तुम्हारे लिए। क्योंकि वो ठंडा तुमने रीजन गोल गोल देके, तो वो जो लर्निंग आनी थी ना उस एक्सपीरियंस से, वो चूक गए उस लर्निंग से, मुझे ऐसा लगता है। Because I've seen people who are more, so they appear very stable. These people, they will appear very stable because they'll just go on with life like, they यही करना है, खाना पीना सोना उठना, खाना पीना सोना उठना, खाना पीना सोना उठना, और वो सदियों से चला आ रहा है और वो सदियों तक चलेगा, है ना। कुछ और है ही नहीं लाइफ में, खाना पीना सोना उठना, और साथ में थोड़ा बहुत जो भी कमाना, है ना, घूमना फिरना। बट जो ग्रोथ होती है, मुझे लगता है जो अच्छी एक्सपोनेंशियल ग्रोथ अगर पॉसिबल है, दैट दिस लाइफ टाइम इज मेड यूज ऑफ, है ना, व्यर्थ ना जाए ये जीवन, तो मुझे लगता है हमें अपने दिल को, कहते हैं ना, फॉलो करो, दिल की सुनो सुन लेनी चाहिए कभी कभी, क्योंकि वो हमको एक्सपीरियंसेस देता है बिफोर अ स्टेज कम्स दैट इट डजंट, इज इट्स नॉट नीडेड एनीमोर, है ना। क्योंकि अब दिल आपका पूरा डायरेक्ट हो गया कहीं और हायर की तरफ, तो आप कुछ कुछ और एक्स्ट्रा एडिशन की जरूरत नहीं है, है ना। आप जो भी होगा, योर यूजुअल इंटरेक्शन, वर्क, वट एवर, दैट विल बी द रॉ मटेरियल फॉर ग्रोथ, नॉट वाइल्ड पैशन, है ना। सो जैसे हम, वी आर यंग, वी आर स्टिल यंग, नो मैटर हाउ ओल्ड वी आर, ऑल ऑफ अस स्टिल यंग। मतलब वो अपीयर तो हो, मतलब यूथ कहाँ है हमारी, है ना, जवानी है कहाँ। ऐसा बिल्कुल डल, हम कभी कभी ऐसे फील होते हैं कि कितने सालों के बूढ़े हो गए रियली। तो वो एनर्जी कहाँ है, मतलब यूथ की यही तो बात है कि अच्छा जान देनी है, जान दे देंगे, हम तो जान देनी है, अच्छा वो दूसरे लोग देंगे, हम जरा अपना काम कर लेंगे। तो हमारी हालत खस्ता हो चुकी है। ये श्री अरबिंदो जब व्हेन ही टॉक्स अबाउट द इंडियन फ्रीडम मूवमेंट एंड व्हाट हैपेंड, व्हाट लेड टू इंडिया डाउनफॉल, दिस इज व्हाट, दैट जो आग जो होती है, जो सही प्लेस है आग की, फायर की, वो जब ठंडी पड़ जाती है ना। अभी तो युद्ध में तो हमारा फर्ज बनता है कि हम उठें और काम करें और कुछ लर्न करें एंड हेल्प करें, क्योंकि आगे जाके नहीं कर पाएंगे, कितना कर पाएंगे, कैपेसिटी लिमिटेड हो जाएगी। एंड देर आर पीपल हु आर टिल 70s 80s वेरी यंग, है ना। लोग कहते होंगे भैया आप कैसे कर लेते, लेकिन वो कर लेते, कृपा है भगवान की। वो नहीं समझते अपने आप को बूढ़ा। So dynamic, what appears, the word that's coming to me is dynamism in life. वो जरूरी है हमारे लिए। Yeah.
Yeah, just to add on, जैसे जगन सेट कि अभी तक काफी करा, बट अभी भी मैं अगर ये क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं या हाउ टू डू इट राइट, तो मोस्टली अभी तक जो किया वो काफी, उसमें ना एक ब्लाइंडनेस होती है ना। मतलब व्हेन वी आर डूइंग थिंग्स, जस्ट फॉलोइंग थिंग्स बिकॉज वी आर कंडीशनड इन अ सर्टेन वे, वी गेट द लेसन्स, बट द गेटिंग इज रियली लेस बिकॉज वी वर क्वाइट ब्लाइंड while doing it. So I think right now, if I now again say कि okay दौड़ा दौड़, या जैसे आप बात you were saying about still going for experiences and all, and one must. So now I can be a bit more perspective, right? I can be like, okay, I really want this, really want this, really want it. Okay, doing it. So okay, is it giving me what I thought it would give me? While one is doing, one can start now just looking at it from a maybe a slightly step back position if possible. ये मिल गया. It's, say for example we were talking about Facebook the other day, or any other social media. कि बैठे हैं, बहुत थकान हो रही है, तो चलो कुछ कर लो. 1 घंटा देख लिया, 2 घंटा देख लिया, उसके बाद ये क्वेश्चन कि ओके एम आई फीलिंग मोर रिलैक्स नाउ ना. If I can be more present to my runnings, I think the lessons obviously will be learned any which way, but they will be much, 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 much faster. Okay, okay, this is why I was doing it. Is it giving me? Is it giving me? Is it giving me? That, like just, I know so many examples, but my father, he had this fascination for like, really expensive cars. They हमेशा देखी हैं, कभी could not take. So once he purchased a good, like really high brand, and in 2 days, he said, I'm done. What I thought it would be and what it is, like the seats are not comfortable, it's all just showy and looks. The amount of insurance I have to pay, it bothers me. The driver I see is not at ease कि खड़ा भी अगर छोड़ के जाने वगैरह था, अब मैं गाड़ी नहीं छोड़ के जाऊंगा, किसी ने ठोक दी तो. So in 2 days he said, I'm ready to sell it. जितना लॉस हो रहा है अब इसको निकाल दो, मुझे ये सिर दर्द नहीं चाहिए. So maybe for 15 years, for example, he might have wanted it, purchased, 2 days gone, and then he didn't sit in it. Like we drove it for another year or so before it was sold off, but he was done in 2 days. So I think this is what matters, right? Still doing it, but I am now my eyes are open. I am not doing it in a blindness, in a slumber. कि हम बस करे जा रहे हैं, because उसका कोई end नहीं है बिल्कुल भी. And another thing, when you were Jagan talking about कि हंसेंगे लोग, है ना. तो एक हंसने वगैरह की एक हमारा ये जो परसेप्शन है ना, वो भी हम चेंज कर सकते हैं. हंसना तो वैसे अपने में बहुत अच्छी चीज है कि हम भी साथ में हंस सकते हैं अगर कोई हंस रहे है, राइट. व्हाई डू आई लुक एट हंसी नेगेटिवली? क्यों? आई एम बीइंग फुलिश. यू आर लाफिंग, हा हा हा, आई विल आल्सो लाफ, यस आई एम बीइंग फुलिश. बिकॉज आई हैव टू सी दैट where has my reasoning, my craving for respect, my craving for following law and order and societal norms, where has it got me? Here. And I'm not happy. That's why I'm asking this question. So फिर I can also laugh along with others laughing, because using reason even, I can see that reason has got me here, and where I am, something is not right. So reasonably be, if I want to try new things or give other things a chance, reasonably also, it does make a lot of sense to now say, okay, I will try this, and we can laugh with the world on ourselves. That too is a fun thing to do, and not to shy away from ye bolenge, wo bolenge. When you started reading the passage, again, somehow always, whenever we talk about faith, like Mira's example comes, right? कि कोई reason नहीं है, कोई logic नहीं है कि जिस माँ ने बोला कि ये तेरा पति है, वो माँ खुद बोल रही है कि अरे मैंने तो ऐसे ही बोल दिया था, छोड़ मीरा, ये तो बचपन की बात थी. एंड शी इज लाइक नो. है ना, मतलब दैट लेवल ऑफ सर्टिट्यूड, दैट लेवल ऑफ कि बस. एंड इट्स रियली अमेजिंग, व्हेन यू टॉक्ड अबाउट इंट्यूशन एंड faith. Yeah, it sounds like intuition. Something in me felt that faith, when it hit me like an intuition. Like I know it. No logic, no reasoning, no connecting the dots. And yet some things I just know, like there's an intuition. So faith, I think, can also be, I'm not sure if this is the right terminology, but just the essence. It is something in me which already knows कि हाँ यही झुकना है या यही है. And this was also very interesting. I mean, the first time I'm reading this, like realizing this, that reasoning is mostly, like we were talking about, divisible, right? Like mostly going towards, mostly, shrinking, mostly smaller and smaller and smaller. And faith is always expansive. कि अगर जैसे मैं एक चीज है सोच रही हूँ, रीजन यूज कर रही हूँ, तो अंदर थोड़ी एक लड़ाई चल रही होती है ना, तो ये वाला, मतलब कुछ कंस्ट्रिक्ट हो रहा है. एंड ऑन द अदर एंड आई जस्ट से कि मान लो ना, है ना, झुका दो ना सर, तो सडनली आई फील एन एक्सपेंशन. लाइक इट्स वेरी आयरॉनिकल कि जब सिर झुक रहा है तो आई एम फीलिंग एक्सपेंसिव, और जब मैं राजा बन रही हूँ कि मुझे पता है, तो अंदर एक्चुअली में constriction हो रही है. Like the dynamism of how it happens is very indicative if I am willing to see कि कहाँ पे I am actually expanding and कहाँ पे I am a begging king kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a quote here from
Yeah.
Synthesis. I mean, I posted it on the chat. I don't know if you want to read it or just let everybody read it.
You can read it, Shilpa.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It says, if one has walked long and steadily in the path, the faith of the heart will remain under the fiercest adverse pressure. Even if it is concealed or apparently overborne, it will take the first opportunity to re-emerge. For something higher than either heart or intellect upholds it in spite of the worst stumblings and through the most prolonged failure. But even to the experienced sadhak, such falterings or overcloudings brings a retardation of his progress, and they're exceedingly dangerous to the novice. It is therefore necessary from the beginning to understand and accept the arduous difficulty of the path, and to feel the need of a faith which to the intellect may seem blind, but yet is wiser than our reasoning intelligence. For this faith is a support from above. It is the brilliant shadow thrown by a secret light that exceeds the intellect and its data. It is the heart of a forbidden knowledge that is not at the mercy of immediate appearances. Our faith, persevering, will be justified in its works and will be lifted and transfigured at last into the self-revelation of a divine knowledge. Always we must adhere to the injunction of the Gita. Yoga must be continually applied with a heart free from despondent thinking. Always we must repeat to the doubting intellect the promise of the Master. I will surely deliver thee from all sin and evil, do not grieve. At the end, the flickerings of faith will cease, for we shall see his face and feel always the divine presence. The master of our works respects our nature, even when he is transforming it. He works always through the nature and not by an arbitrary caprice.
Yeah, very powerful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's very interesting. We have many incidences in our stories, spiritual stories, mythological stories, where it seems like it is not at times, people have put their faith maybe with the guru or master who was not really very much capable, but it was their faith that took them across. So that's very, very interesting to see. Very interesting. There is one particular story retold by Manoj Sagti, and he shared that there was this one businessman who went to some place, some holy place like Mathura or Dwarka, and there was a lady at his village where he lived. She said that when you are going there, then you bring that soil for me, the soil of Mathura. And that businessman forgot. But while he is landing back on his shore, where he has to come, he just took that soil, from his own village, And now in that packet, he gave it to that auntie, who had asked for it. And she's taking that packet, oh, aapko yaad raha, and, putting it on the matha, and that's it. Many years later, and that soil still stayed with her, she had faith and kept invoking whatever. Many years later, that fellow gentleman, the businessman himself, he actually fell ill, and such an illness that he was not able to revive. And by that time, that lady had passed away, but the soil was still intact and the child was there with the soil. And he put that soil on that fellow, the businessman, and he revived. So it's very interesting to see, and there are other stories like that also, where एक वो जो स्टोरी मैंने एक बार शेयर करी थी, एक चेला होता है, एक गुरु होता है. ये भी मनोज दास, अगेन रीटोल्ड बाय मनोज दास जी. तो वो एक गुरु है, वो जगह जगह गांव गांव जा रहा है, और वो चेला उसके पीछे पीछे जा रहा है टू मेक हिम कंफर्टेबल एंड अरेंज हिज एरिया एंड प्लेस. तो नाउ दैट चेला गेट्स इंफॉर्मेशन कि भैया आपका जो बच्चा है वो मरने वाला है, तबीयत ठीक नहीं है, आ जाओ जरा घर आ जाओ. वो कह रहा है मैं अभी नहीं आ सकता, मुझे अपने गुरु को सेटल करना है, अभी इसके और एक दो गांव बचे. तो फिर वो आगे बढ़ जाता है, फिर वापस मैसेज आता है कि बच्चा बहुत क्रिटिकल है, मरने वाला है. वो कहता है मैं अभी नहीं आ सकता, बस एक गाँव और. फाइनली खबर आती है कि बच्चा मर गया. अब वो कहता है ठीक है, बच्चा मर गया, अभी आता हूँ. तो वो सेटल कर देता है गुरु को, जिस गांव में भी सेटल करना होता है. डज हिज फुल जॉब एंड देन ही गोज बैक टू हिज विलेज, कैरीज द चाइल्ड ऑन हिज शोल्डर्स एंड कम्स बैक टू हिज मास्टर. एंड उसके पैर पानी में डिप करके, जो उसका पानी होता है चरणामृत एज वी से, वो पानी उसके ऊपर वो छींटे डालता है बच्चे पे, एंड बच्चा becomes alive again. And there is certitude that that is is to be happening, and he's totally unanxious about it. Now that guru develops kind of an arrogance that मेरे चरणामृत से ये बच्चा रिवाइव हुआ. तो वो नेक्स्ट गांव में जब जाता है, तो वहां के जमींदार के पास वो रुकता है, और वहां पे एक छोटा बच्चा उनका खेल रहा होता है. तो वो छोटा बच्चा खेल रहा है और गुरु मेडिटेट कर रहा है, तो उसको गुस्सा आता है कि इतना शोर मचा रहा है. तो गुस्से से उसको थड़ाक करता है वो बच्चा, अगेन ही काइंड ऑफ डाइज. So the zamindar says कि भाई you have magical powers, your charnamrit is magic, so do it now. So he says okay, get some water. He puts his charan into it and chhidkod it on the child. Nothing happens. Now the zamindar remembers that person. He calls that person from the village. He comes. He puts Guru's charan into the water, chhidkods it on the child, and the child is alive again. तो मतलब कहाँ था, मतलब जादू कहाँ से हुआ. एंड देन वी हैव द स्टोरी ऑफ राम एंड मरा. राम राम बोलने के बजाय मरा मरा बोल दिया और उसी से तर गए. दैट स्टोरी इज आल्सो देयर.
Whenever we hear these stories, like especially, when we are operating so much from reason, which we mostly are, if we even see a play, a movie in which we see somebody with a lot of faith, right? Like no reasoning. Even, traditionally, like people in villages or here, indigenous people who were the traditional, oh, whatever who lived in other parts. When one looks at it, one feels an awe, right? Like if I look at, say, Bill Gates, who has made so much with his whole planning and stuff, there's a different kind of, he did good. And yet, when one looks at this and sees the faith, that also one is very, like, how badly you want that, like, or how, it's like that, wow, like he has achieved something. Like it's so beautiful in old tribes and all, when we hear certain beliefs and how they practice, they just see the cloud and rain आ रही है. मतलब ये सारी चीजें, ये जो connection है और faith है, it's very appealing. But we just, again, we see that they can do it, I can't, and we don't see that faith is the main thing here. And I remember that there was a time when I felt a bit I don't know what word to use, I won't use any, that I can't logically explain certain things. Like some people are so good with dialogue, so ye kyun karna hai? Tak, 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 tak. Especially maybe spiritual things that just karna hai, karna hai, karna hai. So I used to struggle with that a bit. And then came a state when I said, why do I have to explain it to anybody? Like if I know, that's enough. And that day it felt like I left, suitcase full of stones on the ground next to me. Ke, bas pata hai. So again, like it's I who was telling me that no, if you want to do it, you must be logically in good, beautiful words, should be able to explain things. Otherwise, somebody would say, अरे इसको तो पता ही नहीं है, या blind following हो रही है. And then there's a Ramana Maharishi who says कि faith is blind, है ना? If it's followed by reason, it's not faith. वो तो एक calculated वो हो गया.
अब देखो ना, यहाँ पे हम जब ब्लाइंड बोलते हैं, मतलब मैं अपने रीजन या थॉट को भी तो ब्लाइंडली फॉलो कर रही हूँ, उसको भी तो बेचारे को इतना सा दिख रहा है और वो भी डिस्टॉर्टेड, है ना? हम मतलब आई थिंक द वर्ड दैट वी यूज ब्लाइंड फेथ, है ना, वो हम क्यों यूज करते हैं? क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि जो रीजन है इट कैन सी द फॉल्स परसेप्शन, तो उसके सामने फेथ ब्लाइंड नजर आता है ना? कंपैरिजन मुझे लगता है उससे वहां से आ रहा है कि कुछ समझ है, समझ यूज करो, है ना? मतलब समझ हम उसको कह रहे हैं कि जो आप सेंस परसेप्शन से परसीव कर पा रहे हो, है ना, उसका जो इंटरप्रिटेशन कर पा रहे हो, खिचड़ी बना रहे हो, उस पर आप विश्वास रख रहे हो, तो वो सी दैट इज सीइंग, एंड दिस विच इज डायरेक्ट नोइंग इज ब्लाइंड फेथ. So I thought maybe we can go through a couple of lines in Savitri. There is a big paragraph, not paragraph, like lots of lines about reason, the kingdoms and godheads of the little mind. Here, the little mind. So here there's again like back to back many good, beautiful lines where we can resonate. It's a long one, but maybe we can just go through. And this is what I think, Taru, you had shared this, so I went back and traced it. The husks she keeps, the kernel throws aside. And this is referring to reason. As if she knew not facts are husks of truth. So ye Sara, I was tracing back, where is it going, who is she? And then I went back and it was reason. Yeah. Many beautiful lines. Of course, we don't have to try to understand it by our mind, little mind, but we can just go through it. I think it would be nice if we go through it. Yeah. So if anyone wants to go, we can take a little bit with one person and then the next bit. Yeah.
I can read for a bit. Of all these powers, the greatest was the last. Arriving late from a far plane of thought into a packed, irrational world of chance, where all was grossly felt and blindly done, yet the haphazard seemed the inevitable, came reason, the squat Godhead artisan, to her narrow house upon a ridge in time, adept of clear contrivance and design, a pensive face and close and peering eyes. She took her firm and irremovable seat, the strongest, wisest of the troll-like three. Armed with her lens and measuring rod and probe, she looked upon an object universe and the multitudes that in it live and die, and the body of space and the fleeing soul of time, and took the earth and stars into her hands to try what she could make of these strange things. In her strong, purposeful, laborious mind, inventing her scheme lines of reality. and the geometric curves of her time plan, she multiplied her slow half cuts at truth, impatient of enigma and the unknown, intolerant of the lawless and the unique, imposing reflection on the march of force, imposing clarity on the unfathomable. She strove to reduce to rules the mystic world. Nothing she knew, but all things hoped to know. In dark, inconscient realms, once void of thought, missioned by a supreme intelligence to throw its ray upon the obscure vast, an imperfect light leading an erring mass by the power of sense and the idea and word. She ferrets out nature's process, substance, cause.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we can continue if anyone's feeling ready. Go ahead.
All life to harmonize by thought's control, she with the huge imbroglio struggles still, ignorant of all but her own seeking mind to save the world from ignorance she came, a sovereign worker through the centuries, observing and remolding all that is. Confident she took up her stupendous charge, there the low bent and mighty figure sits, bowed under the arc lamps of her factory home, amid the clatter and ringing of her tools. A rigorous stare in her creative eyes, piercing the plastic stuff of cosmic mind. She sets the hard inventions of her brain in a pattern of eternal fixity, indifferent to the cosmic dumb demand, unconscious of too close realities, of the unspoken thought, the voiceless heart. She leans to forge her credos and iron codes and metal structures to imprison life and mechanic models of all things that are. I'll stop here, right? Full stop.
You see, beautiful lines, really. Unconscious of too close reality, of the unspoken thought, the voiceless heart. There's one something by I think Bulle Shah. He says that you are all the time fighting all the monsters and devils all around, but you never fought with your own inner enemy because of that हमें कोई अंदाजा ही नहीं है. Yeah, we can read a little bit more. And it goes on actually. It's a lot, but I would like to maybe read until here. Yeah, this is nice. So we can take a little bit more.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, even this imprisoned life is very
Mm.
visual, right? Like how we keep like imprisoning our own lives through like how reason
In our
imprisons.
own structure. Yeah,
Yeah. And I call that intelligent again, right? Like
yeah,
very ironical that I am imprisoning this happened to me 10 years back. So now or 20 years back, 30 years back, right? And I imprison my own life and my own traumas
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
very
And also when we put our limitations on ourselves, है ना, कि मैं
yeah.
ये नहीं कर सकता, है ना, क्यों? क्योंकि मैंने अभी तक ये किया नहीं, you know. So if the right moment comes, we must be flexible enough that okay, अभी तक नहीं किया, जरूरत नहीं पड़ी, but अब कर सकते हैं. Yeah, no need of images. Yeah, would anyone want to go ahead? Read a little.
I can read it. For the world seen, she weaves the world conceived. She spins in stiff but unsubstantial lines. Her gossamer word webs of abstract thought, her segment systems of the infinite, her theodicies and cosmogonic charts, and myths by which she explains the inexplicable. At will, she spaces in thin air of mind, like maps in the schoolhouse of intellect hung, forcing wide truth into a narrow scheme, her numberless warring, strict philosophies. Out of nature's body of phenomenon, she carves with thought's keen edge in rigid lines, like rails for the world magician's power to run. Her sciences precise and absolute, on the huge bare walls of human nescience, written round nature's deep dumb hieroglyphs. hieroglyphs. She pens in clear demotic characters the vast encyclopedia of her thoughts, an algebra of her mathematics science, her numbers and unerring formulas. She builds to clinch her summary of things on all sides, runs as if in a cosmic mosque, tracing the scriptural verses of her laws, the daedal of her patterned arabesques, art of her wisdom, artifice of her lore. Should I continue, ma'am?
Yeah, you can take a little bit more.
Okay. This art, this artifice are her only stock in her high works of pure intelligence, in her withdrawal from the senses trap. There comes no breaking of the walls of mind, there leaps no rending flash of absolute power, there dawns no light of heavenly certitude.
Yeah, thank you. A million faces wear her knowledge here, and every face is turbaned with a doubt. All now is questioned, all reduced to naught. I think it also refers to how from time to time we have new theories and coming up in science. And then one theory comes up, we are so certain and solid about that theory, है ना? And then कुछ समय बाद एक ऐसी थ्योरी आती है जो सारा का सारा नेगेट कर देती है, जो पिछली थ्योरी ने बताया है. All now is questioned, all reduced to naught. ये हमारी certainty. Her thought is an endless march without a goal. There is no summit on which she can stand and see in a single glance the infinite whole. An inconclusive play is reason's toil. Each strong idea can use her as its tool. तो ये जैसे हम जैसे सब भाग रहे हैं, हमें चाहिए, I want to be the true one. A thousand combatants for truth's veiled throne, and sets on a high horse back of argument to tilt forever with a wordy lance in a mock tournament where none can win.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the first line that you read on this page, again, this is reflective of what we were just discussing, right? That where is my reason leading me? And here it says that it's an endless march without a goal. Like if I ask myself, truly, what do I want? There would be, I want contentment, I want completion, I want peace. And yet, most often that not, reason takes me away from it. It tells me, pehle ye karo tab, confined to the structures, confined to the society. And peace is sitting right there, it doesn't take it, right? So this without a goal, कि बस है तो यूज करना है, किसी भी तरीके से तुक भिड़ाना है जिसमें ये आ रहा है, राइट? कि एनी रीजन, एनीथिंग, हाफ ट्रूथ्स, इट्स जस्ट it's also reminding me in prison life when Sri Aurobindo has spoken about the lawyer from the opposite side, that how he was like a play, felt like he was the play director or something, right? Like using all the bells and whistles and styles, and he had nothing. It was just, so it was very, like, it's very interesting to see that without a goal, or if it's telling me, standing right there and telling me, no, no, do this, I must ask, what is your goal, right? Where will you lead me? If I believe you, where will you lead me that you have not led me till now? And obviously, where you have led me till now did not do it. That's why I'm standing here, and right. So very, like जैसे कहते हैं ना, एक लाइन पकड़ लो, उससे बहुत कुछ ठक ठक गिरने का चांस है. Those veils, those prison walls.
Yeah, look at these lines. Although like sunbeams to our glowworm mind, her knowledge fails to fall from a clear heaven. Its rays are a lantern's lustres in the night. She throws a glittering robe on ignorance. कैसा लगता है मुझे पता है, but it's just a glittering robe.
Even the line before that you didn't read, just read that time cancels all her verdicts in appeal. Like how we realize it didn't hold anything, right?
True. जो हम फैक्ट की बात करते हैं ना, बस facts are saying this, facts are saying this. As if she knew not, facts are husks of truth. As we say, never to go by appearances. As if she knew not, facts are husks of truth. The husk she keeps, the kernel throws aside. No, और बार बार हम इसकी चैंटिंग करते, but the facts are saying this, but the facts are saying this. Yeah. Again, it goes on and beautiful lines. So I would recommend those of us who maybe like to go through when they have silent time. Yeah. It's brute, unconscious, accurate device. Unrolls an unerring march, maps a sure road. It plans without thinking, acts without a will. A million purposes serves with purpose none, and builds a rational world without a mind. So I think it will be nice to go. Yeah, अब देखो ये कितना of soul or spirit we have now no need. कुछ नहीं चाहिए, ना soul चाहिए ना spirit, वो जाए side पे, reason is enough. Matter is the admirable reality. The hard truth of things, simple, eternal soul. Facts, facts. Yeah. Yeah. So any last sharing? Any?
Not really, not really, about the topic today, but I find that there are days when I'm more inclined to faith, and I'm, more in line with mother. And then there are days I'm just questioning everything, you know. And one thing that's missing when I'm questioning is my smile, because I cannot smile. Um, so yeah, so that is that itself is, a proof to my reasoning, that this it's not the right thing. But yeah, like I'm just noticing this wavy pattern, going around. Thank you.
Very nice. Yeah. There was one line here in Savitri when you were sharing. See, a pensive face and close and peering eyes. कि जरा ध्यान से देख लेने दे जैसे देख के पता नहीं क्या बड़ा काम कर देंगे. So yes, she took her firm and irremovable seat. मैंने देखा. So it's very interesting, and as I think Taru was sharing in the beginning, and Mother shares that not to take ourselves too seriously, है ना? And Mother says that जब भी ऐसा लगे ना कि थोड़ा कुछ something is becoming grave and serious, she says that some old pattern has shown up its face again. So to be wary of that. Yeah.
No, even in the passage, that line, right, that faith comes from the center of the being. And it's so many times it happens that I have a decision or something is absolutely clear to me from inside, and yet using old reasons and facts and figures and norms, keep stopping myself. So I think if we can take anything from what we read today, and it was very, small passage though that we took, if we can just look at the reasons that are blocking me, or maybe just tell ourselves, we love to experiment, right? We want to know, we love to explore places just for pure joy or fun or experiment कि okay इस बार मैं इसको हटा के देखता हूँ. Does it work? Does it work? Like, where does this take me? Because I know reason has taken me here. कि अंदर से हो रहा है, but one thought, a faith comes and a reason comes and takes it back. कि चल चल अंदर चल, right? यहाँ पे तेरा नहीं चलेगा. So if we can allow it to, parole पे ही चाहे हम उसको छोड़ दे के let it go and walk around, it would be very interesting to see what we find. Yes, Deepa, please.
I think when Jagan is asking that question, I remember our conversation once, Taru, where I was questioning you with my reason about a topic on reincarnation. And I was telling you how I've always used reason. I've had a very scientific mind. That's what I've also studied. And that's how I have evolved. And I've used reasoning mainly, whether scientifically or otherwise. And at that time, you made a statement where you said, I think that has a lot also to do with arrogance. I was in my pride of being very scientific, in my pride about being very questioning and reasoning and logical, I also probably developed a lot of pride. So every time faith comes in my path, I decide to question that also. So I don't know if that is applicable to you, Jagan, but maybe somewhere we need to again take a step back and wonder, is this part of that pride and arrogance that I'm unable to surrender, I'm unable to uh, trust faith? Because I think somewhere to a certain extent that was in my case for sure.
Yeah, actually, I don't even have to question myself, Deepa, because I know that it is my pride and arrogance that's kind of blocking the way. The answers are pretty clear. I'm just looking for a way to get over it. I also shared with Monica ma'am once that, with practice came pride. And then I stopped, then that sort of restricted me from going beyond. And um, so, yeah, I am working on that as well. So those are the biggest reasons for me.
अगर हम ट्रू साइंटिस्ट भी देखें वैसे तो आप देखोगे कि सच ह्यूमिलिटी इन दोस साइंटिस्ट एंड दे हैव बीन एक्चुअली एबल टू टैप इनटू बियॉन्ड रीजन और वो सारे साइंटिस्ट वो हैं जिन्होंने एक्सेप्ट किया है विद ह्यूमिलिटी दैट यस देयर इज समथिंग एल्स दैट इज देयर देन दिस ह्यूमन माइंड है ना एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन द कोट्स दैट ही लेफ्ट अस विद लाइक अमेजिंग रियली ऐसा लगता है वो स्पिरिचुअलिस्ट थे कि साइंटिस्ट थे तो अगर हम साइंस की भी बात करें तो साइंस इवन साइंस वो बेचारी धोखे में जाती है अगर सिर्फ प्योरली ये फैक्ट और उसकी बात करती है ना तो इंट्यूटिव नोइंग हैज ऑलवेज ग्रोन साइंस इन लीप्स एंड बाउंड्स इफ वी सी है ना ये एल्बर्ट आइंस्टाइन थॉमस अल्वा एडिसन मैरी क्यूरी all these really like genius scientists they all if you read their history and stories they all had some sense of intuitive capacity in which they were tapping into है ना तो सिर्फ उसके फैक्ट एंड फिगर्स के चलते इतना कुछ पॉसिबल नहीं है जितना कुछ वो दे गए हमको जो अब अभी तक हम अभी प्रूव करने में ही लगे हुए हैं सोचो सालों के बाद हम जैसे लियोनार्डो दा विंची द डिजाइन ही मेड वो अभी तक हम कुछ कुछ डिजाइन ऐसे हैं दैट हाउ कुड ही मेक दोज डिजाइन तो साइंस का भी लॉस ही है अगर वो उसी में स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलोज हर रिजिड एंड सीरियस लाइन जैसे nowadays how they are talking of what is the particle which is generating consciousness अब इसकी बात हो रही है कुछ सालों से हो गए अब तो काफी साल हो गए इस चीज को they have created a whole facility underground facility at the border of I think France and Switzerland where they are trying to find the God's particle that's what I heard when I was doing study there कैसे मिल सकता है सोचो ना अगर हल्की से भी ह्यूमिलिटी है कैन वी एवर फाइंड अ पार्टिकल जिसमें जो कॉन्शियसनेस बना रहा है हाउ इज दिस पॉसिबल बट वही है कि हाउ गॉड मेक्स यूज ऑफ एवरीथिंग, तो उसका भी कुछ ऐसा रिजल्ट होगा विच विल फर्दर लीड अस टुवर्ड्स ट्रूथ ओनली, है ना. इतना पैसा स्पेंड एंड ऑल द मनी which could have actually taken away all the poverty of the world. All that money goes into their facilities, but yet everything has a purpose. Hmm. Hmm. But I think that's why we are getting to know more and more of things which relate with कि जैसे इतनी दूर है दो बर्ड्स, है ना, एक ऑस्ट्रेलिया में बैठी है एक कहीं और बैठी है, आप यहाँ पे कुछ ऑल्टर करते हो तो शी गेट्स टू नो, है ना. सो व्हाट दे कॉल इज क्वांटम एंटेंगलमेंट. तो अब ये चीजें शायद इसीलिए पता करी होंगी कि इतना ये सिर्फ मारने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि क्या है क्या है क्या है ना. तो अगेन वी गेट क्लोजर टू ट्रूथ आइदर बाय मैटर और थ्रू स्पिरिट, as Sri Aurobindo talks about. Truth is truth. That's what we will find, nothing else. That's what we call telepathy, I think, when we talk about human beings. It's for real. It's intangible, but it's for real. Oh. Okay, so yeah, anything more? Anyone? Faith also has a perseverance, which aggressive, क्योंकि one can get confused कि अरे मेरे को तो intuition आ रहा है, मेरे को जाना है, मेरे को जाना है, मेरे को intuition आ रहा है, so that aggressiveness is not there in faith. Just like mother says that in desire there is an intense vibration, but in aspiration there is not that intense vibration. So faith has perseverance कि अच्छा अभी नहीं तो मतलब सही टाइम नहीं है, आगे, like that. The certitude is there कि अगर होना है तो होगा. Yeah, please.
Yeah, you know, what you were just sharing, it's very interesting because when I have a desire, I have this thing कि पता नहीं पूरा होगा कि नहीं होगा, और अगर हो नहीं होगा तो मेरा क्या होगा, kind of a thing. तो कर लो कर लो कर लो कर लो. मतलब ऐसे लगता है कि बस ये मिल जाए. मतलब आई रिमेम्बर आई वाज लाइक, आई डोंट नो, 8, एंड आई हैड सीन, वो गफार मार्केट में वो जो फॉरेन स्टफ आता था, स्मॉल स्विमिंग पूल फॉर किड्स, लाइक मे बी 5 feet by 5 feet. And I remember, I asked my father, like we were walking, I saw this, I took him back, I saw something I liked in those narrow lanes. And I said, मतलब I remember that feeling in my heart. I could imagine myself lying in that pool and stuff. Like, Papa, bas, I will not ask for anything else. If you could just buy me this. I mean, it's very strong. And the aspiration, it knows कि इसमें ना की तो कोई possibility नहीं है, right? So it's very, I mean, the sthirta you feel and the non-sthirta you feel in desire, if you look at it, like if just for experiment, you close your eyes, you think of a desire, you see the movement. You think of a prayer, you see your movement. It will take us 2 minutes to identify the pattern, and then we can see it in a practical कि अच्छा कुछ आ रहा है, 2 मिनट सोच दिया कि अच्छा क्या मूवमेंट है ना, ग्राफ ये है. Very helpful, and yeah. So he did buy me, just to end this buy that one.
Okay, so just taking a moment, sharing all the merits with all the sentient beings near and far. May all of us be truly well, joyous, progressive.